I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. It is Thursday, April 13th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What is up, everybody? Good to see everybody here again. I'm sure we're going to have a pretty good crowd tonight, talking Derby, talking Keeneland again. Man, what a good 2 days we're going to have at Keeneland. Lots of really nice horses running over these next 2 days. Kind of surprised me. I know it's Keeneland, and usually it's good, but this is better than I thought it would be.
Not only that, you got the international imports coming over, modern games, your champion. You've got really all over the car. The Jenny Wiley is loaded, and it's not just like in Italian, or in like Queen Goddess. I mean, you've got across the board very good horses in that race. I thought, with the Moonlight, obviously is a very good horse. You have the Secret Oath and Sinclair Air making their, even though it's a small field, in the Apple Blossom. Of course, you've got the Lexington, which is the official final Derby prep. So yeah, it's a solid weekend for a weekend kind of post Derby prep, mega Derby prep. So it's nice to have that still going.
I think it might be just as good as far as the entire card goes as last weekend, and that's saying something, because last weekend I thought was really fun to be there and really just solid horses and races. But this is just as good. I mean, to have a horse like Modern Games running tomorrow is exciting. And then the Lexington, I don't think it's going to have any implications on the Kentucky Derby, but I do think there are a couple of horses in that race, whether it be later on in the Triple Crown season or later on this year, depending on how things shake out. I think there's a couple of horses in there that are really good and that you really need to take a notice to. So we got a lot going on. It's Keeneland. It's always fun. I think it's extra fun the next 2 days.
Yeah, and you really do have, it maybe you don't have maybe implications necessarily as far as like a winner. Maybe you do. I don't know. But Disarm is really the horse in question here in terms of who's left out there. That if this horse really just finishes top three, he's probably going to get in the gate, and to a lot of people, that's a horse that's already a wise guy horse for the Derby, So if you think he's a wise guy horse for the Derby, well, sure as hell should probably finish top three in the Lexington, So you would think, but doesn't need to win. But I think that, and obviously you could bump out some horses as well. So even though there's maybe not necessarily like a huge implications with the Lexington that we normally see, you still have one horse, and like you mentioned, I think there's a couple in here moving forward on the trail, probably more so this summer, that I think could be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Disarm, a big-time Kentucky Derby, threat. If he was able to win this one, he's going to push himself in. But like I said, even top three could get Disarm in. A lot of times, though, when you're trying to push to get in the race, maybe you shouldn't be in it at all. And so that's kind of, we're going to find out what he is. I'm very much on the fence about his talent level. I think he made a huge step forward last time out. Have to see if he'll do it again here in the Lexington. Certainly, though, he's kind of earned his way in. Even if he gets second, third, something like that, he's earned his way there. So it's interesting to see. And boy, the spots for the Kentucky Derby, and again, we're 3 weeks out. We got a little ways to go here. But I tell you what, you're going to have a lot of points right now, and those spots are coveted and they're tough to come by. There's some good horses sitting on the outside looking in at this moment.
Yeah, it's it's definitely different. Usually it's like you get 20 points or so, and 25, somewhere in that ballpark, you're in the bubble. Now it's like you're not even in the game if you have 20. You're not close. And obviously having the more points stretched out has had an impact, as we kind of thought. But we weren't really sure, how big of an impact it would. But doubling it up, basically, as far as the minimum, is pretty huge. 40 points. I mean, because all of a sudden, we talked about this in the past, where it's like all of a sudden, because it used to be if you get second in any of these final preps,
yep,
you're like, even if it's a distant second, you're still in the Derby, right? But now it's kind of like, Disarm, right? You look at him, like he got second in Louisiana Derby, great, but he's not quite in yet.
And listen, we've got caught a lot saying it on our shows. King Russell, Mandarin Hero, Disarm. We were just used to, hey, you got second, he's going to be in it. And we'd say on our live shows, hey, he's made it. He's made it in the Derby. Not the case this year. So we'll see. They need some defections. Defections usually happen. How many? That's going to be the big question. But right now, horses like Mandarin Hero are sitting there thinking, man, that horse could probably make an impact in this thing. He's not around, and he's down the list quite a bit. So he's going to need 3 defections, or 3 or 4, I should say, to get in.
I wonder if, I'm not a huge Disarm fan, but if you are, I kind of wonder, are you rooting for him to lose this weekend? Are you wanting him to run like a good second or third, to just to get you a better price? Because if he goes and just really looks good and wins, obviously he's not going to be like a favorite or anything, but he is going to hurt your odds in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he's going to take money. I think he, like you said, he probably would have been the wise guy horse anyway. He would take a lot more money if he opens up by a couple of lengths here at Keeneland. Yeah, I think that certainly is something to, if you're a Disarm fan, I don't know. It's weird because you need him to run really well to get in the gate, but he doesn't have to win. And so would it be better if they just kind of saved him for the Derby, got up there for second, something like that?
We've got obviously a lot to talk about here that, it's, I always try to plan these out. We're 3 weeks out. This week is a little bit of the, okay, let's just kind of talk about the preps and how, what kind of happened there. Next week or 2 will be the John White interview that we always look forward to. Everybody looks forward to. Then another one with kind of like a little bit solidified of the fields. And then of course it's Derby week after that. So we're in the early stages it's not early, but it's been Derby talk all year, but we're in the early stages of post prep talk. And we'll kind of hash out everything a little bit, kind of get an idea of what everyone's thinking. Make sure you ask questions. If you do, we'll try to get to those and answer them. I just see it's popping off. So, but yeah, we had a big weekend last weekend, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But, initial thoughts before we get into it, any teasers? I mean, I know people haven't seen it. Halterman shook up his top 5 a little bit after last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, if Tapit Trice can kind of have that trip, and it's a big if, and post position is going to make a big difference. But if he can have a similar trip that he did in the Bluegrass, I think he's going to get the job done. And then after my top 5 came out, Angel of Empire gets Pratt instead of Kingsbarns. And I thought that was very interesting. So we'll have a shakeup even more. We'll do it on the show here. And then also next week for the preview video, I like Angel of Empire a little bit more now after that decision. So the 2 horses there, I wasn't real impressed with St. Anita Derby as far as projecting the Kentucky Derby. But yeah, I put Tapit Trice number 1. It's not a solid number 1 or like, hey, I'm real bullish on him, but he showed me enough in that race. I think he can get the job done. Of course, Forte always there as well. So there were some changes, but nothing is really set in stone because it's a little dicey this year.
Definitely feels, boy, it seems like it's one of those years where other than like, usually you feel like if it's like outside of 4 or 5 horses, it'd be pretty surprising. This year, it feels like it could really be like 10 to 12 horses that could win. You're like, yeah, I mean,
yep,
possible, right? I mean, I don't think it's completely out of question that over half of the field has a more than legitimate chance to win.
Yep.
And that's the way it's been all year, really. It seems like you haven't had that huge horse. Forte, I guess, is it, but it seems like people are trying to get off of that one, and Tapit Trice and all that. Do you really trust him to get through traffic? And what's Kingsbarns and what's the Japanese horse? And you start going down the list, and all of a sudden you can make a case for a bunch of these horses.
Yep, absolutely. And that's every year the Derby's kind of like that, but you have those top couple where it's like, yeah, I'm not changing these. Like, I really feel good about these. You don't really have that. I mean, obviously you always have a top 2 or 3 that you like in your head, but it's like you said, not that you're going to get talked off, but you could easily see something and go, well, maybe I'll change it, because it's real wishy-washy at this time. And it's just because nobody's really stamped themselves. And I know people are going to hear this and the comments are going to be, well, what's Forte done wrong? He hasn't done anything wrong, but he also hasn't given you that performance this year where you go, oh yeah, that's a Derby winner.
Right. There you go. Nick's he's crossed off one. All right. There's one. Well, 18 more to go, Nick, before you can find the winner. That's, I mean, that's a good way to go about it. You reduce the field, the 20 horse field once it's out. You reduce it down to 12 or something if you can, and then handicap it from that. But again, it's hard to do that because Tap It Try draws post 3, even though you might have him in your top 12 there. The impact of these, it definitely feels like a crop that, traffic and issues and how many horses can overcome a bad trip? How many horses in this field, in this crop, can overcome, anything going wrong in the race? I don't think there's very many, if any. And so that makes this thing even more difficult when you're talking about a bunch of horses that feel very similar on top of 20 horses being in the gate.
Yep, and that's what sucks on a year where, hey, the trip's going to be the big factor. The trip horse is going to win it. Well, that's tough enough to predict in like an 8-horse field, a 20-horse field. It is really tough. And like you said, I mean, some years it doesn't really matter if you go wide or whatever. It's just he was the best horse, and then some years it's not like that. And that seems to be this year. The one thing about it with Tap It Try and Forte they both have been wide in their races and still won. So that is a good sign, right? But I don't think either one of them can get stopped, right? They're going to have a clean path. That's for sure.
Yeah. And on the flip side, you look at a horse like Practical Move, who seems like gets a dream trip every time they run right on the rail, just perfect trip. Got it again in the Santini Derby. All right, we'll get into it. We're going to preview some stakes races. But before we do that, we're going to go through the 2023 Road to the Kentucky Derby prep season, what we liked, what we didn't like, some of the preps that we thought are key, the ones we're going to toss. Then we're going to look at how we're going to kind of go into the handicapping portion of the Kentucky Derby. Then we're going to give some rapid fire selections for the greatest stakes action this weekend at Keeneland and Oaklawn Park, including the $1 million Apple Blossom Handicap. Let's go. I almost forgot we were talking, even handicapping races here. I mean, everyone's just excited about the Derby.
Yeah, and it's the fun thing about the Derby is it does seem to change daily. Once this weekend's over, then come those defections that we're talking about, or a horse has a work and they don't officially defect, but you're like, yeah, they're not running that horse after that, So the news comes and comes, and you've got all kinds of content leading up to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's one of those things for me. It's like I look at it, I go in pieces. I look for a little while and think about it and try to kind of strategize, and I just have to forget about it because it's hard. It's you can get too wrapped in it, and we call it those circle race where you just keep going and you keep making the case for a new horse. I feel like you just need to to figure out, find your horse, stick with it, try to craft the best bets you can around your opinion, and past that, I mean, you either will or you won't.
Yep.
All right, we are less than a month out here, 3 weeks out from the Kentucky Derby. Final preps this weekend. Final prep, I should say, the Lexington. It's a minor race, minor prep. The meat of this thing is over. We know who's in the race for the most part, other than one horse, Disarm. And we're sitting here trying to figure out who you like, who you don't like, what races were important, what races were visually impressive, but the numbers came back slow. What horses keep winning, but you're not overly impressed with them in their last race. How do you kind of start to unpack this? I got the top 20 on our website at racingdudes.com under the Kentucky Derby page on the screen here. So if you're watching, you can see it there. If you're not, make sure you go watch it on YouTube. But Tap It Try Saltzman jumps up to your 1 spot, and and Dermot Sotogake didn't even run last weekend, and he jumps up into your 2 spot. Forte 3, 2 Fills 4, Kings Barnes 5, and Practical Move backs all the way up to 6. Thoughts? Kind of go through maybe how you decided to do that.
Yeah, well, listen, Tap It Try, saw him live and in person there, and like I said, was just really impressed that he was able to get position, make a move up the backside, wait, and then go ahead and beat Verifying. To me, Verifying was kind of he shouldn't have lost that race type of race. He really skirted away there after a perfect trip. Tap It Try had to go get him. You don't see a lot of horses that are able to do that. Whether when a horse is fresh and ahead of him there, he's able to go get him. So Tapatrice to me, I thought earned it at number 1. Listen, Derma Sotogate, look, Mandarin Hero comes over here. He almost wins the San Diego Derby. He ran a fantastic race. I mean, one jump after the wire, he does win the San Diego, or he would have won the San Diego Derby, but that's not how it works. He got second still. Listen, horses that have beaten Mandarin Hero, Derma Sotogate's killed him. So I think it's naive not to sit here and think that the Japanese can come over and win this race right now. They're winning every other race in the world. They're doing it pretty easily. They come over here and won Breeders' Cup races. The B team came over here and almost won the San Diego Derby and beat a horse that people still think is going to win the Kentucky Derby. Derma Sotogate for me, I think he makes a ton of sense. I put him second. Just going to depend on, hey, where does he draw in the race and how's he handling Churchill? He's already over here. He's going to have a month to work over that track, so he should be used to conditions. I just think it's kind of naive to think they win every other race, but they can't win the Derby. I'm sorry. I think they're sitting in a real good spot. So I put him in second. And then I kept Forte up there at number 3. I think it just seems to me he's not getting much better. And I think that is a recipe to lose the big one. But maybe he's going to pop a bigger race than he has. I really am confident if he runs like he did in the Florida Derby, he's not going to win. I think he's a good horse to play underneath. And look, depending on the post, maybe he becomes that top choice for me. It's still very possible, but I just kind of feel like Tapatrice is a little more talented. So I kept him at 3, but I think though one of those 3 will be my top pick on Derby Day. I really believe that as we sit here right now.
I know it kind of with Forte, it feels like I have gone from he's my pick. I'm not really going to go off of him too. Now I feel like I've been a little too degrading, or however you want to say it, of him, where it's like all kind of has you feeling of, if you bypass him a little bit and then he comes in and wins, like, really? Like I got tricked with Tapatrice, or I got tricked by the Japanese horse when Forte's done nothing but be great, and so that is the concern with Forte. I almost feel like you got to play him defensively everywhere, just because I think he's the horse that's most likely, or is the most probable, maybe of anybody in the race, to show up. I just think he's a solid horse.
I think that's fair, and I think the track record definitely shows that, right? Out of all of them, you could probably trust him the most. It comes down to a simple decision. Do you want to bet a favorite that's regressing in numbers, which numbers are a small part of it, in my opinion, but you want to bet a favorite that really hasn't run as good as that Breeders' Cup Juvenile yet this year, whether it's numbers or you look at him, right? Just visually, he hasn't. It's a fact. And I get it. He was behind horses and he had to catch a horse and this and that. I'm sorry. He has not looked as impressive as he did as a 2-year-old. Do you want to take that kind of horse as a favorite? Most years, I would be a solid no on that. Okay. I want to make that clear. This year, I'm not a solid no on it because, again, I think he set the bar, and I don't think he's raised that bar, but I don't think he's really lowered it either. And it's just, can somebody get up to that level? A lot of times you will see horses get up to that level. I don't know that we've really seen it yet, right? But I think we are starting to see a few creep up there where they're like, oh, they're just as good as him, right? And then if it's one more little improvement where he's at that same level, they're going to beat him. And that's where I'm at with it. Again, he still may end up being my top pick. We're a long ways out from this thing, right? But if he's not and he beats me, I'm not going to be too upset about it, because that would have mean, hey, I don't think he's going to win, and I didn't want to take that short of a price. That happens sometimes. Those horses beat you in racing, but you got to go with what you got to go with what you do day in and day out.
Kind of makes you wonder, at least for me, like, is the hate going to go too far, and now all of a sudden he's going to float to 3-1? Because here's the thing, I've been saying all along, like, when you look at past winners, like, and I'm talking like the big ones, Pharaoh, Justify, they were 5-2, and he doesn't deserve to be 5-2 in my opinion. when you compare that. And so maybe the hate goes a little too far. Maybe he gets to 3-1, and which I think is a lot more playable and a lot more where he belongs. You think 3-1 is possible?
It's I'm telling you right now, it's all going to depend on Derma Sotogate. If he blazes in a work at Churchill Downs, I just believe he is the one people are going to go nuts over. And so that's kind of another factor. What if Forte, who hasn't done much wrong, let's face it, what if he does float up and then he becomes a little more attractive? I don't love playing that way. I know there are know-it-alls on Twitter that will tell you there is no such thing as a top pick. You play the odds. No, if you love a horse, take whatever price you can get on him. I've always believed that. But there are situations where it's like, yeah, I'm between 4 or 5. Then the odds really play a huge factor in who you're going to pick. And you hit it on the head. If I think Forte should be 4-1 and he's 5-2, that's a tough pill to swallow unless I just cannot find anybody else I like. But he could float up to 4-1 if these other horses make some noise in these workouts. These workouts get bet at Churchill. So it's something you've got to monitor. Let's think of last year. I really thought all leading up to the race, Epicenter would be a pretty, not a strong favorite, but a 3-1 type. He wasn't. He floated up because other horses started getting attention. So that's one of the things you've really got to monitor.
Well, okay, so let's try to go through some of these, because here's the thing. I see a lot of people thinking, it's going to be really intriguing to see how these odds are bet. And with the, because like you said, the Dermot one is such a wild card. I believe Crown Pride was like 16 or 17-1 last year, and it keeps going that direction where the Japanese horse is getting bet harder. He was nowhere near the hype that this horse is. The pools keep getting, bigger on the Japanese side, so it's just going to, no matter how you feel about him, he's going to be bet super hard. I think. Okay, so back to my point. People are, where is Angel of Empire going to fall? I see a lot of comments about Angel of Empire, Pratt choosing Angel of Empire, how that's going to affect. But here, I'll go through the horses. You tell me who you think, if you think that horse will be lower odds at post time than Angel of Empire. So Tapit Trice,
he'll be lower.
Derma,
he'll be lower.
Forte,
he'll be lower.
I'll skip 2 fills. Kings Barnes,
I think he'll be higher now because Pratt is on Angel of Empire.
Practical Move. They should be pretty similar, I would think.
Look, Practical Move is not for me at all, but he's going to be for a lot of people, right? So he probably will be lower than Angel of Empire. That's my guess.
So yeah, I agree. So my point is, you got Tapit Trice, Derma, Forte, Practical Move for sure. 4, maybe 5 horses, however you want to look at that, that are all going to be lower odds. And in the Derby, you know how it is. It's like 3-1, then there's like 5-1, then there's an 8-1, and then there's a 10-1. And so realistically, Angel of Empire could be the 4th betting option and still be 12-1, in that ballpark. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen. I don't know that I think he's going to be bet, but I still think if you like him, you're going to get a playable price on him.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you like Angel of Empire, you don't need to sweat out what price he's going to be, because say he goes below 10-1, as Amateur Alchemist says there, I think it's only 8-1 or 9-1. I don't think he's getting to be 5-1. So if you like him,
there's too many options. There's too many horses to bet in the race.
Yeah, I see him being 12. I think 10-12.
Yeah.
And if he's that, who cares, right? I'll go for it. See, that's the thing. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people want to tell you online that if Angel of Empire's, you think he should be 15-1, and instead he's 12-1, then you shouldn't bet him. And I'd say, hey, if you like Angel of Empire, 12-1 is more than enough, right? You shouldn't worry about that kind of stuff when it comes to horses like this. Angel of Empire probably deserves to be right there, in my opinion. 8, 10, 12 to 1.
Right. Because I mean, I have zero doubt in my mind that, yeah, if I was a betting man, I would say it's Forte, Tappet, Derma, Practical Move, Angel Empire. That's kind of the order I would see it. And when you go down that list, I mean, I just think by default, you're going to have a horse that's going to be sitting there at, like, I think I saw someone in here, 8 to 12 to 1. Yeah, somewhere in there. I think that's a pretty decent expectation of what you're going to see for him. And honestly, with this, like, other than Forte, and maybe Tappet Trice, and okay, I'll give you the top 3. All these horses I think are playable because you got to try to find a winner here, and I'm not going to not play Kingsbarns because he's 8 to 1. I think he should be 12 to 1. If I think he's going to win, if he's going to win. Now, if it's Tappet Trice and he's 5 to 2, or 3 to 1, I'm like, I can't. I don't know if I can play that, So I think it's all about the value for the lower horses. And Derma, I'll flip it to that because I will admit I keep going back to Derma. He's grown on me ever since I did the video of why he can't win. He's done nothing but grow on me. And as I sit here today, he's one of the few horses I think he can actually win the race, where I probably would bet to win. But how are you going to handle him? Because he's going to be no matter how you want to slice it, he's a huge underlay of the race.
He's going to be bet harder than he probably should be. Even if he wins that race, and like I said, I've got him second. I think he's had a great shot to win it, to be completely honest. But he probably shouldn't be 3 to 1, 7 to 2. And that's kind of where I've got him kind of slotted in. So you're right. It's hard to take that price on him. Even if you love him, even if you think he's going to be tough, it's hard to take that price on him. By the way, David Aragona posted his morning line as of right now, and he had Angel of Empire at 8 to 1. So I do think that what Phil said there, between 8 to 12, is probably where he lands in that situation.
I hope, Brian, that he does turn into Taba, because
he might, but I don't think it's a good comparison because he's very different as far as how experience coming into the race. I think it's more of this than anything. He may turn into just another UAE Derby winner. Well, and that to me is the scare more than, hey, he's the next Taba,
honestly. And I haven't been, and I probably should do it more, but I haven't been putting a lot of weight on the fact, because that's it, right? That's the jinx, right?
Yep.
The UAE Derby, and that's just like, you just auto toss, no matter who it is, auto toss. But I've been looking at it more of this is a Japanese horse, more than I'm looking at it as that's the UAE Derby winner. I don't know how you at this point. I don't know how you can't.
Yeah.
If, for instance, Cairo, whatever, if he would have won the UAE Derby, I would have probably not had a lot of stock in him in this race. But the fact that Japanese horses continue to do better and better and better, and Mandarin Hero, I saw it somewhere, it's gone now in the chat, but he sealed the fate for Derma, because now we're seeing, like, basically take your pick, Japanese horse come over and run with our horses, and this horse is way flashier than anyone else. So to me, he is a legit candidate to win.
I think so too, and I'm with everybody. I have never played the UAE Derby horse. When Mendelssohn won, I said, forget about it. He's not going to come over here and win,
Yeah.
And maybe I sit here on May 7th, I guess, or May 6th, right after the race, and go, God, why did I fall for the UAE Derby horse? I never do that. But I'm with you. I just think the circumstances are a little different when they're coming over here, they're winning like crazy. And I'm telling you, and maybe I'm taking too much stock into this, but when Mandarin Hero comes over here and almost wins, it just feels to me like that was a sign that, like, look, they're coming, and it's going to be tough to beat this horse. He's going to show up.
I know, and it feels like, and I've been kind of on this train a little bit where it's like you just feel like sometimes you just gotta like look past all the other bullshit and just be like, you feel like it's about to happen. You just
Yeah.
can just look around racing in general and see the domination and seeing this, and it just feels like the writing's on the wall. And that's what I said in my video. Like I do think within the next couple of years we're going to see it happen. You could look back and say, man, Mandarin Hero kind of tipped the hat. I should have known.
And like the problem for me is it is a field that it can happen in. Like he's not. There's no Justify American Pharaoh type where it's like, oh, that's a scary horse for everybody, right? It's like if he can come over here and run a really good race, he's got a great shot.
Yeah, I've gone through and watched every one of his races and tried to figure out what he is, why he's a fake, why he's not good enough, why, all those things. And I'm just every time I do it, I'm like, damn it, I like this horse. He looks good. I so wish he would have pulled a Mandarin Hero and ran in one of these final preps over here.
Yep.
It could have given everybody, myself included, enough. And I obviously, I don't know that the hype could have been any higher anyways, but it just gave you enough confidence that, okay, he is a real horse. You're going to have to just take, just kind of wing it and hope that he is the horse that you think he is. Or if you're against him, hope that you're right, that he's not it. And that's kind of what I mentioned in the video I did on him. It's like you could just take the angle like until it happens, I'm just simply not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's Japanese, I don't care if it's UAE, whatever it is. Like if they win over there, I'm not doing it until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get why people wouldn't want to play him. I'm putting myself out there saying that I don't usually do this. So it could be, hey, why did you break your habit? Or why did you break your pattern, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is a good point from Brian. I just don't trust any of these horses to beat the three top closers. And I'll go past that a little bit further and say, I don't know if I trust these horses to hold off Forte, hold off Tapit Trice, hold off Angel of Empire, if that's the horse you think, or but can they hold on? I mean, that's a lot to ask. Maybe you hold off Forte, but now can you hold the gray locomotive that's coming up, in Tapit Trice, or maybe it's both of them, but all the Angel of Empire has done is get better and better with every start. It seems a lot. I mean, this horse is going to have to be the goods, to hold off all those shots.
The last factor, there's not a ton of speed in this race. So I know a lot of people are saying, well, he wired the field last time out. Depending on the draw, depending on who actually gets in, all factors where don't hold it against me sitting here on April 13th, but there's a chance it could be a favorable trip for him, depending on the draw and who gets in. I mean, it doesn't look like a overly fast pace right now.
Well, and that's why the scratch of Go Rocket Ride in the Stanzini Derby is massive,
huge,
for bigger implications than just, hey, he probably would have won or whatever. All he had to do is really finish top two, and you're not going to convince me that he wouldn't have finished top two in that race. And he's in the gate, and all of a sudden he's a very real pace presence in the Kentucky Derby that could change the game for the whole race. So him being out of it, and honestly, I was banking on him being in there because I liked the horse. I just thought surely he's going to run 1-2 or top two in the Stanley Derby and get in. Him being out now, it only makes it harder as far as any other speed, because I do think his speed is legit. Any other speed to possibly put it to Derma.
Run down you got the top 20. Run them down real quick.
Yeah, let's look at it. So Forte's not, Practical Moves not, Angel Empire, Tapit, no, Two Fields, no, Lord Miles, no. There's the issue. King's Barnes, yes, I think it will, right?
Yep.
Race Cane definitely not. Rocket Can can't. Hit show, no. Confidence game, absolutely not.
No.
Verifying,
Yes.
I
But
think
okay,
he won't be on it, but I think he'll be close enough.
Kingsbarns and Verifying aren't like true speed horses, but they will be out there without any doubt. But they're not burners. Go ahead.
Sun Thunder, no. Wild on Ice, I mean, whatever. Mage, no. Okay, so here, Mage is, to me, is he's the wild card of it all, because do I have confidence that he's going to break and get, be on the lead? No, not at all. But can he? Yeah, I mean, we've seen it, and they keep talking about, he can break better than that. He can break better than that. All of a sudden, if he breaks well in the Kentucky Derby, he finds himself close to the lead. Do they just go? I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a wild card.
Okay, so we've got 4 horses so far.
Blazing Sevens, no. Reincarnate, I guess Reincarnate's one. I could see him being speed, right?
He's a big slow mule, though.
He's garbage, though.
He's a big lumbering speed horse.
Chase's Road has speed, but not a ton of speed.
Yeah, I mean, he could be up there. So at best, you've got 5 speed horses, and we're saying a couple of them are iffy, and a couple other, they're fast, but they're not burners.
Cyclone Mischief, if he were to get in somehow, he could possibly be on the lead or close to it. But no, I mean, I'm trying, I'm grasping, right? Because you kind of have to. Point is if you're sitting here telling you that you think Kingsbarns is the biggest speed issue for Derma, that's concerning if you're against Derma.
Exactly. And to me, I really, only 3 horses that I trust to be up there are Derma, Kingsbarns, and Verifying. And we've seen Verifying, his best trip is to sit off, just off the speed, like he did in the Lexington, like he did in his Oaklawn allowance, right? That was perfect for him. He needs to be close, but he didn't want to be on the lead. So, okay, he's not going to go to the front. Kingsbarns was in the front, but set the slowest fractions of all the preps. He's also won from off the pace a little bit as well. So I could see him going to the lead, but he's not going to go out there and burn it up.
No.
It's there for the taking for somebody if they're good enough.
Does Reincarnate have enough owners? No, I don't.
No.
I don't believe they do. Yeah, it is. And look at last year, like it seemed very clear that, this is, Benteba or Messier or someone on the lead, and all of a sudden they go out and burn it. Like, you never can come up with that pace situation. And problem is, this year, if you do have a horse that wants to go out, you're basically, if you do, if Kingsbarns wants to try it, well, hope you don't like him, because he ain't going to hold on if that's what they try. So that's the problem you run into. There's not enough good horses in the race that can be a pace presence in the early parts of the race, but also be good enough late. They're not there. To
me, you're right. And you need to decide if it ends up being where those are the 3 speeds, which one of those 3 speeds are best, because they're more than likely, if they're not going to win, they're going to hold on for a part of it. So you really need to decide, as far as using on tickets, Derma, Sotogate, Kingsbarns, Verifying. Who do I like out of those 3? Because they're probably 1 or 2 of them are going to stick around before the Tappets and the Fortes, Tappet Trice and the Fortes start making that move.
I think if you're Yak Teen, you're who, I don't know if Johnny V or whoever is going to ride Reincarnate. You're telling him you ride the shit out of him. I don't think you can keep up if you try, but you do it anyways, and you try to set this thing up for my other horse.
His Arkansas Derby was so disgusting that I don't even want to hear about it.
It's embarrassing that he's even in the race.
It is. Okay. The Rebel, that was one thing, got third, really didn't have any business. He got the dream of all dream trips in the Arkansas Derby, and he got third, and he was like a half length away from 7th. That was a horrific race. He will have to do a complete 180 to even factor into the Kentucky Derby. It was so bad. Now, if he runs second and it's a good second, say he gets beat the length or 2 by Angel of Empire, it's like, okay, he just wasn't as good as him. I get it. That's okay. To get beat by King Russell and almost get beat by Rocket Can, trash race, a really bad Arkansas Derby. After two really good efforts, I thought he really tried, at least in the Rebel, and he ran good in that race at Santa Anita before that. But that was a bad race last time out from him.
He got everything his way in the Arkansas Derby, and he was a joke.
Bad race.
Really, really bad. All right, so let's talk about one last horse here, at least that I want to talk about. Are we going to sit here and look at this in a month, let's say, and Turfway going to become the Derby prep capital of the world? Two Phils, I don't know. He seems like he's kind of floating out there a little bit. You either aren't talking about him at all, or you think he's going to win. He is a complete. There's a lot in here where I at least have an opinion on. With Two Phils, I'll be honest, I don't. I can't figure out what he's going to do, what he is. Is he good? Is he not good? I don't know.
I think he hangs around. I think he's kind of in the stocking position, makes a move. I almost am willing to bet when they turn for home, one of us will say, ooh, Two Phils is up there with a chance. I don't think he will have that same kick at Churchill. I think he gets up there. I think he's there. And I think he gets beat by a couple of them, 2-3 horses, maybe. If the race was on synthetic, I would say he's going to be the one because, boy, he ran fantastic. He ran like a Derby winner at Turfway. The problem is we have seen him on the dirt several times. He hasn't been bad. You can't call any of his efforts bad, but you can't call him superb like that race at Turfway. So I'm really on the fence with him. I think he's got a lot of talent. I don't think he's one I can put on a win ticket or a pick 4, pick 5 ticket, though. You never know. Depending on how deep I go, but probably not.
He was so good in that race, and his number came back great. And I think the one part about it that I at least feel a decent amount about is like, it's not like you said, like, it's not like he was awful, beyond awful, and then he went and did that, or he just only ran on synthetic, and then now he's going to dirt. Like, we've seen him on dirt. We've seen him in good preps. Doesn't embarrass himself, but he's clearly a cut below those horses. But then he goes, so you kind of wonder, did he put it all together there? And this is the horse, or is it a synthetic that moved him up? Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think he's an underneath play at best for me. I can live with, like, I can sleep at night, Derby night, and if I don't have him on top and he wins, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm just never going to probably pick him to win.
Yeah, same. Underneath, if I didn't use him underneath and he got third or fourth, I might be a little bit upset with myself. But I'm with you. I think we see him the same. If he wins, it's like, I couldn't get myself to do it. And I get it. And I understand people that like him and picked him, and that's great. Pat you on the back. He just wasn't for me to win, All
right. I've got races to handicap here, but, before we end the Derby discussion, anybody have any last questions? We'll try to get to them. You're on Tapit Trice. I know that's your top pick. If the Derby was ran this weekend and you had the 20 horses, and let's assume that, as perfect as it sounds, no horse got a bad draw. Lord Miles got the one spot, so we forget, we don't care about him anyways, right?
Yeah.
The race is Saturday. Who are you leaning on right now? What's your pick? Is it Tapit Trice? Is there any potential plays? I think the one I keep going back to is like a bunch of horses over Forte in second, because I maybe think he's going to run really well, but maybe he gets beat by somebody. Who are you looking at right now? Is it still Tapit Trice?
No specific plays in mind at all just yet. But yeah, if Tapit Trice gets a good outside draw, say 10 through 15, I think he's my horse. I just, I said it and said it and said it, and some listened and some didn't. But I kept saying after that Tampa Bay race, I don't think he's a dead closer. I don't think he knows what he's doing. And I think if you tell him to do something, he'll do it. But he's not going to do his shit on his own. He's not there mentally. And you know what happened? They asked him to do everything in the Bluegrass. They treated him like we have to tell him exactly what to do. You know what he did? He did it. and all of a sudden, he wasn't a closer. All of a sudden, he's in mid-pack. And he's up to third. He sits, he waits because they told him to. They told him to go, and he went and got a horse.
Yeah.
I think he can do that in Kentucky if he's outside. I think inside, as goofy as he is, he's going to have some trouble. So I don't like him if he draws an inside post. So outside post, give me Tapit tries. If he does draw inside, to be completely honest, I won't know until Monday night after they draw, because I'll really have to kind of reevaluate everything.
Well, what's amazing too about him is, if you guys, I'm sure you are, and trust me, we'll talk more about it when John's on the show. The Derby strike system somehow, against all odds, Tapit Trice avoided a strike in the last race.
Well, hey, I'll tell you exactly why. Because he was mid-pack and he moved to third up the backside.
Yep.
You can sit there and watch that race 100 times. That's the only thing you need to see, because that won him the race, and that's going to win him the race if he can do it in Kentucky. He's got to round the corner right there, and he did. And you know what? As good as Verifying ran, and everybody's saying, well, he caught him because Verifying couldn't get the distance. No, he didn't. He caught him because he was within range of him, and he's got a longer stride than him, and he's faster than him down the stretch. So, Again, if he's last, Verifying would have won by 3 lengths. He didn't get a strike because he made that middle move.
I think going into the day, you hope it's not, but you got to think, well, he's definitely probably going to have 1 strike, because he's not going to be close enough. And he showed that he could be. I wonder if I just have a hard time believing, like, if you could just imagine, like, let's say like a Zandon trip in the Derby, if you go back and watch last year's, like, Zandon had a pretty good trip, kind of set mid-pack most of the race, and then kind of tipped out, and really right there at the top of the stretch, you thought he was a winner, right? If he can get that trip, if he can get that kind of trip, I don't care who's in front. I don't know how you hold him off. That's the key. If you can believe that you can get him in the similar spot in the turn of the Kentucky Derby, that's a big if. If you do believe that, I think he can win. I think he will win the Kentucky Derby.
If he rounds the corner like Zandon did and he doesn't win, I will throw up live on this live stream for the Derby. Well, I will puke right on the keyboard.
Let's see. I've got a couple other questions. Kevin wants to know. I saw Sun Thunder, so I just clicked. What are the odds of Sun Thunder winning the Derby? Which one's better, the winning the Derby or me going home with a foxy lady from the Derby? I think
I would definitely say the foxy ladies.
I'm gonna say I think it's like a 30-1 and a 50-1 kind of thing, but it's possible.
Yeah,
I'd bet on myself over Sun Thunder. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a lot of people like Sun Thunder. So,
do you think Todd gives Johnny the mount for Kings Barnes, or John sticks with Reincarnate?
I think Velasquez, if he has a chance, he will get the mount on Kings Barnes. If they ask him, I think he jumps to Kings Barnes without any question.
If it's an option, I think both parties want Kings Barnes. But
I don't know if Todd reaches out to him or not. That's a question that I don't know the answer to. I don't know what. I know he's ridden a ton for him, but he really doesn't ride for him anymore. So I don't know what that relationship's like.
Well, anytime you can get a jockey with that kind of experience in the Derby, that's huge, right?
Oh, he would fit Kings Barnes like a glove.
If it's a loss, if you say, Pratt picked him, but that's a nice, bounce back. If you were kind of down with, with him choosing him over the other one to get Johnny V on that horse. So, Johnny, I have not heard one way or another. Being that it's not officially Baffert, you could see him jumping ship in riding the horse he thinks, versus if it's Baffert and Reincarnate, you know what I mean? He's probably just going to stay put.
Yeah.
Or if he won the Arkansas Derby or something, but I don't know how you stay on that horse unless he doesn't have the option.
Yeah. We'll see.
Nick has a point here. Verifying being on the lead and holding on for the try seems really possible. Yeah, Verifying it. I don't have any faith that he can get it done. He had every opportunity to get it done on Saturday, and he couldn't. Having said that, I thought he ran a huge race. He could arguably get better from that start in the Bluegrass, and if he is a pace presence, I could see him getting a really nice trip as well. and just not being good enough, right? I said it, in the betting Bible last week of why I bet him. I keyed him in second, verifying, because I was like, I just don't think he's going to want to go that far. And obviously he kind of did. He just got beat by a horse that really wanted to go that far. But point is, I don't think the Mountain Quarter is going to suit him. So I definitely see him getting caught, but maybe keying him underneath would be a nice play because I think verifying will be a nice price.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to make the decision once they draw what kind of trip is he going to get. Because we've seen him run 2 killer races. In both races, he got the same exact trip. Second place, stalking a speed horse that really didn't, well, I wouldn't say didn't belong, but a speed horse that he didn't need to go mess with. Any other trip, he's been kind of average. And so that's going to be the key. Say he draws like the 14 hole. There's a couple of horses inside that like to go. You think he can kind of sit, clear the rest, sit in third, only get hung a couple wide. Yeah, he could sneak up there, get third, or hold on for third. Sure. I think his trip's going to be so imperative.
Yeah, but I do think to Nick's point, there's a very real possibility if say you are against verifying where you're sweating it out big time. Say you don't have him on any of your try, you're sweating it out because I do think he's one of those horses. If he draws well, he could get a good trip.
Yeah, this with Gun Pilot was the same thing. He set that's the allowance which I was talking about. He set right off Gun Pilot. Well, he just smoked him. And honestly, Davey, that race I kept going back to because I kind of drew a line through the Rebel because the trip was so weird. That race is why I picked verifying to win last week because I projected he would get that same exact trip. He did. And up the backside, I'm telling Jared, verifying's going to run huge. Tapatrice is making that move. We got this exacta. I felt good about it before they even turned for home.
You did. I had it straight. You didn't. I was worried.
That's true. You should have been worried.
You felt good. You enjoyed the whole stretch. I have tap it on my team.
Yeah.
I have it straight, tap it over verifying. I still think I'm with I still thought I was gonna hit it, but I was growing concerned.
Yeah, he really spurted. Talk about verifying. He really spurted away from him, And if you're watching it, you're thinking, well, he gets ahead, and then he just kind of spins his wheels. He didn't spin his wheels in that race. He really kept going, and that was the other reason. And the last reason I put Tapatrice first this week. I don't really think he caught a horse that was getting tired. I think he caught a horse that was running pretty fast. So
anyway. Yeah, as soon as Tapatrice made his move and he thought, here we go, you look over at verifying. He's like, oh, shit, he's going too.
Yeah.
It made it very clear that, that those two were going to run away with it, but trying to figure out who it was. So it was a hell of a race. It's been a hell of a prep season. We are 3 weeks out. 3 weeks from today, we'll be giving our final picks for the Kentucky Derby. So stay tuned for that. Tons of Kentucky Derby coverage coming your way. Got John White's going to make an appearance. We'll be talking more of the Derby pace and how we're going to handle that. And if we can we get Slim out of hibernation for some pace analysis, you think?
Well, we got to keep. He's tweeting about rap a lot. He's a lot of rap music on his Twitter, so we got to get him out of that stage. Maybe we can get him back into Derby mode.
Well, that'll be your job. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Derby talk coming your way soon. I don't know what he's doing. No idea.
I don't either.
So anybody that lives near Saratoga, let's go try to see what he's doing.
I think he's reverted back to his rap roots.
That's scary. Oh boy.
Now, do you want Slim or do you want Borat? I think Jason makes a good point.
Oh God. I hope Borat's dead.
Yeah, Jason, go check on him. I don't think Borat is dead.
I hope he is, though. I wish he was. Can he be dead? No. Oh, Borat. Like that was like the perfect thing that it was awesome until it wasn't. And then it was really bad. Like Borat was hilarious and amazing. And then it wasn't.
Well, he didn't go home. He didn't go away.
Oh, God. Oh, man. All right. Well, what do you say? Let's do some handicapping. We actually have some races to talk about here too. Got the Makers on Friday tomorrow, and we're gonna go to the stay at Keeneland, do Lexington, Jenny Wiley. We'll go to Oaklawn for the Count Fleet and the Apple Blossom.
Thinking about Borat and Slim, I'll always think about summer when I think about that. So that's the good news. Like Borat, if Borat's back, that could only mean one thing: it's summer at Saratoga. So,
dude, right? I mean, I'm okay with it when it's there because that means we're at Saratoga. So,
yeah.
All right, time for rapid fire presented by OG Handicapper. What's up, guys? Jerry Welch, RacingDudes.com. Have you ever cashed a huge bet and thought, man, I wish I had a t-shirt to commemorate this victory? Now you do. That's right. Maybe you cashed in on a mutter.
His father was a mutter. His father was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. His mother was a mutter. What did I just say?
Look at that. A mutter. You got that. This is the apparel you've been waiting for. It's finally here. OG Handicappers. That's OGHandicappers.com. This is the face of horse racing apparel. It's not only horse racing. They've got golf. They've got lifestyle, casinos, cigars, betting. You name it. It features all your favorite. Look at that. So you cashed in on the front runner. Horse that went gate to wire. You know what? I need a t-shirt for this. Boom. You've got it. OG Handicappers. OG Handicappers has a vibe for everyone, and they even now have ladies apparel. I'm thinking about getting some ladies apparel for the Tinder girls. Just bring them over. Here's a shirt for you. All right, OGHandicappers.com. Look at this. You got the exact. Maybe you cash in on a huge exacta. You know what? I need one. Or maybe you're the favorite of the family. Grade 1 bread. That's it. That's what you need. Follow them on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. Go to their store at OGHandicappers.com. Get yours today. Use promo code DUDES, DUDES, at checkout for a 10% discount. That's OGHandicappers.com. Go get it. Yes, the Tinder girls do love some graphic tees I've found. There you go. Look at that. You get a little, polo as well. All right, let's go to Friday at Keeneland. This is race 9, the Maker's Mark Mile Stakes, grade 1, $600K for 4-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf. Field of 8 lines up, but look no further than the number 7, your Breeders' Cup champion, 3-5 favorite, Modern Games, makes the trip over here for this race. Halterman, how good is it to see our boy back, Modern Games?
It's very good, and I'll keep it very simple because we went long on the Derby stuff. The 7 Modern Games is my top choice. He will always be my top choice anytime he runs in this country, ever. I've loved him as a 2-year-old, even when Del Mar wouldn't let me cash a ticket on him. I love him now. I'll love him forever. Number 7 Modern Games for me. Number 5, Dr. Zimpf in second.
There you go. That's kind of the comp. That's the, everyone's talking about. Is it Modern Games or is it the Todd or the Chad Brown kind of new shooter, so to speak, and upset it? I don't think he can get it done. The fact that he's coming over here for this race when he has no need to make the trip over, no reason to prove himself further, tells you a lot. The 2-time, that's right, we'll call him the 2-time Breeders' Cup winner, is going to win here, where, by the way, he just won the Breeders' Cup last fall. So I'm with you. Number 7, Modern Games. To me, do you think this is just how surprised were you to see him here? And 2, what do you think is, other than obviously it's a nice purse and it's a grade 1, and I get that, but do you think it's, hey, we're going to run him over here a few more times, this year, and obviously, be highlighted by the Breeders' Cup? Could he be a 3-time Breeders' Cup winner?
He definitely could be, and I'm very surprised, though, that he's here. Very surprised. I did not see this coming at all. So, love it, though, and I don't know what the long-term plans are for him, but I think 3-time Breeders' Cup winner is very, very possible. Back in California, but not where he raced last at Del Mar, but at Santa Anita this year.
Well, he's won one at Del Mar. He's won one at Keeneland. Why not go and win one at Santa Anita? All right, let's go to Saturday now. Let's go to the main event, so to speak, of Derby preps for the final one. Race 9, Saturday, Keeneland, Stone Street, Lexington Stakes, grade 3, 400K for 3-year-olds, going a mile 16th. Again, final points on the line, 20 points to the winner, 28, 6, 4, 2. And then, by the way, we do have one in here that can't get points. He's back. Arabian Lion for Bob Baffert. Back to Keeneland, where last time we saw him at Keeneland, he looked like a freaking Derby winner. Can the Bob Baffert magic be enough to get him back? Well, I say back. He wasn't even in the winner's circle when he was here last time. Can he do it? Do you trust your boy, Arabian Lion, to win this race, or are you going to SARM? Are you going somewhere else?
I'm definitely not going Arabian Lion in this spot. I don't. Maybe he runs a magical race somehow, but it's going to take it. He just has not been good whatsoever this year. Well, since he's been at Keeneland. So, look, I think it's a tough race. I think it could be competitive, but I am extremely high on the number 5 First Mission. I really like this horse. Love the debut. Loved the stretch out. This horse won so easily in that second start. Bold take. You ready for my bold take?
Ready.
This is Cox's best horse, best 3-year-old.
That's not. Well, depend. You're talking to the king of the First Mission fan club over here. So let's see. I know that I can say with that's true. That's not your own. You're not the only one with that belief. Let's put it that way. I've heard some things that this is the horse. If horse was only a few months prior, right? Just a little late to the game, that this horse would have been a legit Kentucky Derby threat. So I do think that he's going to be really tough here. I love First Mission. I love this horse. Like I've been wanting to claim this horse for a month, and I just haven't, because I was like, I have enough horses where I probably shouldn't, but I think he's super, super impressive in that, his last both races, listen, he beat that last race was great, right? I mean, I don't take too much stock in all those numbers that day were pretty low. As far as like, if you want to talk about like a regression from his debut to that race, as far as buyers, I don't know what he was on the time form, but he went from a 96 in that loss in the main special weight to an 89 the next time out. The 96, he got beat by Bishop's Bay, who just got enough head start on him. And by the way, that was going 6 furlongs, and they're going to keep Bishop's Bay going a mile or shorter. And I think that's interesting because he damn near beat Bishop's Bay, who I think is an incredibly talented 3-year-old for Brad Cox as well. They're going to keep that horse sprinting or going short anyways. And he about beat him. And he came back and just beat the shit out of the field the next time out. I think he's the real deal as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I think he kind of just stalks the pace a little bit in this one, maybe in the second, third, fourth spot, and then tries to take over top of the stretch. I think he's going to be awfully tough to beat. Yeah, look, I heard so much. I mean, so much hype on Bishop's Bay before that first race. And I watched it, the same debut race for First Mission. I was like, I think First Mission's the better horse out of these two. And then you watch that second race where they stretch him out. And I'm like, damn, he looked really good. Now we're going second time long. It is the first time it's winners. That's fair. It's a little bit scary. But second time going long. Saez aboard. I really like the horse. We'll see if he can let me down Saturday, but I really like him.
Yeah, I've been following First Mission for since that debut, just to figure out where he's going. Like I said, I've been wanting to claim him, so I've been tracking every move, and so I've known he's coming in here for a while. And the fact that Cox decided to go this route with him when he doesn't need points, obviously he's not going to get in the Kentucky Derby. To go against this kind of field, which is, he can definitely go an easier, if he wants to get to say Preakness, or if that's even, going to happen, he could have found a different route. So the fact that he showed up here, I thought it was a very telling thing. And by the way, Dennis, I will answer, like, Disarm is not going to get in the gate unless he hits the board here. Well, let's say, put it this way, finishes top 5. He gets 2 points for 5th, which would put him ahead of the other 40 pointers, which puts him right below Cyclone Mischief. So he would need a couple of defections. I think third place, like I mentioned, third place would secure a spot.
Yeah, he has to finish third or better to be in the gate for sure. If he finishes fourth, I'd put him at 44 points. I'd still put him 23rd. Yeah, he needs to finish third or better.
Yeah, I mean, he could still get in, obviously, but it would take a little bit of luck versus shit. And be honest, like if you're not going to be excited about playing Disarm if he can't finish in the top 3 of the Lexington. Give me a break. So, yeah. All right, number 5, first mission for me. Love this horse. Make sure you go check out the betting Bible, by the way. Halter and I are working on the betting Bible for the Lexington card. And I can just say that is going to be a pretty significant play for both of us in that wagering. We've done really well with that thing. All right, race 10, Ginny Wiley Stakes, worth $600K. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going mile 16th on the turf. Field of 9, highlighted by In Italian, your 2, your Pegasus winner, Queen Goddess. And, oh, by the way, another Appleby horse, number 5, With the Moonlight. Man, this is a nice field. In Italian is going to look to go gate to wire. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think she's got a significant pace advantage. So I'm going to go In Italian to win the race because I think she can go gate to wire. If she's ready to fire, I don't think they'll catch her. Turf course is playing really, really favorably towards speed so far at Keeneland. Now, that could change, but as of right now, it is playing pretty heavily towards speed. So I think she'll be really tough to catch. I wouldn't be surprised if With the Moonlight does catch her, though. She's coming over here. I bet she runs a pretty big race. But In Italian is going to be my top pick.
Yeah, In Italian has ran just really too good to lose. You know, she lost in the Breeders' Cup and just ran her eyeballs out, going longer than probably she wants to go, and just got nailed by Tuesday there. But, you know, horse had rattled off a few grade 1s going into that. Is a very good horse, likes Keeneland, likes the distance. Not a lot of other noticeable speed. I do think Queen Goddess has speed, but not her kind of speed. So I just think she's going to take them as far as she wants to go, gets Irad Ortiz back aboard, which I think is a nice bonus as well. So I'm with you. I'm more interested in playing this thing straight than I am boxing it or anything like that, because I don't know that With the Moonlight is going to be good enough to run her down late, considering there's not any issues on the front end with an Italian. You know, I think she can kind of get it early enough kind of padding where she's not going to have to, she can hold off the 5 With the Moonlight. But, you know, With the Moonlight coming in, definitely they didn't ship her over here with Modern Games to get run second. So that's going to be a hell of a race. I love that exacta as well. Speak of the devil. How about the Speak of the Devil? I will never get the Speak of the Devil Distaff Turf Mile out of my head and think she's good. Dude, you go back, that Distaff Turf Mile was unbelievable. Yep. It's the best performance of anyone, I feel like, in this race. It was so good. I mean, when she ran that, we were there live in person. I thought she's a superstar. This is the next, you know, I don't even want to throw out the names because it would be disrespectful to those other horses, but felt like she was that, right? She is just falling off.
I don't get it. I mean, and this horse In Italian that we're sitting here talking about, she passed In Italian like she was tied to a fence post. It was ridiculous.
Just beat the shit out of her.
I thought she was the next great horse. I'm with you. And not only that, she's just been awful. Like there's been nothing, you know. And so she came back. I thought, well, maybe she'll get it going in the Pegasus. Just not good. And I wish there was a sign that she's going to run big here, but I don't know.
It's frustrating when you have a horse that you know has at least at one point showed a elite amount of talent, and you just can't. You know, she's been the favorite every start. The last 2 are just awful. Does get Pratt back aboard, who was on her that day. Maybe that's enough. I don't know. I can't play her, but that would be the single most worst horse to beat you on this day.
Oh, I remember looking because I was standing with Patrick, and I was like, you need to stop what you're doing and watch this because you're not going to see a performance any better. And I don't remember, but I think it was like time form wise, it was one of the highest time forms of that weekend, if not the highest. So I don't know either A, why she did that, or B, why she hasn't ever been able to do it again. Maybe what she's doing now is what she was. It's funny. One last thing on this. We got a buddy who's in Louisville. Well, he's in Lexington, but he was in Louisville for all, like the lead up for the Derby, right? And he texted me. He said, "Whatever you do, don't play Speak of the Devil. She is training so bad over this track, and in Italian looks great." And he tells me this a day before they race, and I said, "Well, thanks, but you know what the problem is? My shit's been done for 2 or 3 days, so I can't change it now. So thanks for the, And I said, but my opinion is she, Speak of the Devil's going to kill him." And then she went out there and she did that. And I texted him and he's like, "You were right. I didn't see it coming, but that was crazy." And then in the long run, he's been right and I've been wrong. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, listen, you're now at the point where, Dennis, you're at the point now with her that you're going to get the price. You can't, she deserves to be 10-1. And so, the talent's there. She will be a playable. That's the problem. She's going to be a playable horse every time because of that performance. That'll be one that I'm going to have to let beat me, though. She's just going to have to get way too good to pass those horses. All right. Let's go to Oaklawn for a couple of races here. Race 9, the Count Fleet Sprint on Saturday, grade 3, worth $500,000 for 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Field of 10 lines up here. I thought this was a pretty fun race, pretty competitive race. Tail and Twist at 5-2, Skelly at 4-1, 7-2 all to the outside. Brad Cox, Flo on Strobe. Really, you got your kind of pick here of who you like. Candyman Rocket at 6-1. Where are you going here? I think you can make a case for a bunch of these horses.
I think speed is going to be tough here. There are so many speed horses in this race. I have a tough time thinking one's going to win up towards the front. If one is going to win, I think it's going to be Strobe because he can sit kind of off of it and kind of monitor the situation. But he hasn't looked good when he's done that. So that being said, I think we're going to get a pace meltdown. I want Tejano Twist, the 5-horse on top. I think it sets up perfectly. I kind of went into the race trying to beat him, but at the end of the day, that pace sets up really, really good for him. Yeah,
I kind of agree a little bit. I do think it's got the potential for a meltdown. I kept going back to the 10 as far as how nice this horse has kind of continued to evolve and be a solid horse. It's 4 for 4 at the distance, 5 for 4 lifetime. I do think that it is a little concerning. But I do believe that drawing outside is going to kind of dictate things in terms of, hey, we're going to have to sit off of it a little bit in order to win this thing. And so I do think you're going to be able to sit a little bit of a trip outside of the speed. So I'm picking Strobe on top. I think it's a hell of a race. I think you can make a bunch of cases for the underneath. I thought the 2 was really interesting. That race last time out was kind of eye-opening, I thought. But yeah, the pace that's set up here is scary. Another closer-wise, Surveillance, I think is an interesting horse here. I wish the horse was like 10-1 though.
Yeah.
But I do think that horse has got a shot to kind of pick it up if this thing falls apart. All right, let's go to the main event, race 11, the Apple Blossom Handicap, grade 1, $1 million, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, 1/116 miles. Here, hang on a second. Let me go through all of the names here. 4 horses: Secret Oath, 4-5, Hot and Sultry, 5-1, I Feel the Need, 20-1, and Clairiere, 6-5. A race that's a lot of the times we've seen it might draw 5 or 6. You don't get a ton of horses in this race typically, but only having 4 horses in the race is kind of disappointing. But with that said, you still have the battle between Secret Oath and Clairiere, trying to figure out which one of those 2 you can trust. Which one did you go with?
Yeah, this really sucks. I hate it for Clairiere because you feel like she needs a little bit of a pace setup, and I don't know how you get it. I think Secret Oath kind of sits a little bit closer to Hot and Sultry than Clairiere can. I think she gets first run, and I think she just kind of gallops home here. I don't think Clairiere can catch Secret Oath with this dynamic, and so I went Secret Oath on top. This is hate to say it, it's a boring one.
It's a nice resume patter for whoever wins it, which, Secret Oath go. I mean, here's the thing. Secret Oath has never lost at Oaklawn against the girls. The only loss was in the Arkansas Derby last year. She's continued to impress. She loves Oaklawn for whatever reason. And I just don't know I don't think it's going to change here. She's like that race, like this area, man. I went back and watched it because I really wanted to try to beat her here with Claire. And I get that not the best of rides, but I don't think it would have mattered. I thought Secret Oath was really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think she can turn the tables sometime during the season. I don't think the dynamics are right here, though.
Who was? And I'm trying to think, and I cannot. It was okay. It was at Oaklawn one year. And it wasn't this race, but it was like a sprint or something. And there was a small field, and it was, gosh, who was it? It was that super fast sprinter for Asmussen.
Oh, Matoli versus Whitmore. Yeah.
Whitmore. Yeah. Why haven't and you felt a little bad for Whitmore, right? Because you're like, that horse ran his eyeballs out, but he was just one, he's up against a monster, and two, it was the pace that situation was just not there, right? He was forced to go do something early and kind of battle the horse, and this is, I kind of thought of that when I saw this race. Like Clairiere, could she run a race? Sure, but I just don't know that it's going to be good enough to run down Secret Oath.
Yep. I've always wondered this. Nick says, if you have a 4-year-old mare, why wouldn't you run her here? 5th for $1 million seems like a better payout than most. And you also get to say you're running in the Apple Blossom. I've always wondered that. Like, because when the entries come out and they've got 3 or 4, they're like, oh God. They're calling people.
Yeah.
Like, just enter it. Who cares? I'm with you on that. I don't know why.
Well, shit, you had how many did we have in these areas? I thought at least you'd have a bunch of those back.
I thought you had like 7 or 8 maybe in this area. It was shorter, but not this short.
No. And then I thought Pauline's Pearl might show up in this race.
Yeah.
There's a couple that I thought would definitely show up here. Yeah, it is weird. I was listening to you and your dad on the Dudes Bet Sports show earlier, and it's like, when like it's Latruska and Monomoy Girl, or it's Zenyatta or whatever, like you understand why it's a short field, But when it's, granted, Secret Oath and Clairiere are good horses. They've both earned almost $2 million each. For one, you could run third very easily, right? And two, it's like I don't trust either one of these horses that much still.
Same. Yeah. Same. And I'm with you. God, if I had a decent one, I'd put it in there. But if I had one that just wasn't that great, I'd still put it in there.
Why don't you get no, never mind. You can't. I was gonna say, do you have any female horses you could run in this race?
No. 2 males.
Man.
And 3-year-olds at that. So
we should claim one this weekend or before the race and just run it back.
We'd find a way to not get 5th somehow.
Get Kelly on the line. Say, hey, look, and we're looking for a horse for the Apple Blossom.
Right.
We think she can run 5th. Okay.
Listen, he's having a hard enough time keeping Husker Butch's feet on the ground. Come on.
Yeah. All right. You and I are both going with the coach here. Number 1, Secret Oath to win the Apple Blossom. Yeah, get him on the line. Let's get a horse. But really, like, I don't know what it costs to enter the horse. But wouldn't you be net positive regardless?
I would think, yeah. And I would think in this situation, Oaklawn might waive it and just say, hey, yeah, come on, just enter. Don't worry about it.
Please.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
It is.
All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, all the places you listen to podcasts. We're there. Make sure you go check out the Magic Mike Show. They were on here a little bit ago doing the Keeneland Saturday Pick 5. So if you want to kind of more analysis of not just the Lexington and the Ginny Wiley, but you got the Giants Causeway in there. as well as the rest of the late pick five. So make sure you go check out the Magic Mike show as well. Let's see, Halterman, final thoughts before I leave you. Oh, by the way, the betting Bible. Go get the betting Bible right now. Halterman sent it over to me right before we went live. I'm going to put my picks in, kind of go through I'm kind of honing in on a few different picks there, but we did I think we combined for like 64% ROI 2 weeks ago. Last week we combined for 33%, 32% ROI. And that was with the scratch, a major scratch. One of my biggest bets of the Bible last week was the San Diego Derby and Go Rocket Ride, obviously. And so not having that hurt, but we still came out with that a positive, had a good experience at Keeneland. Hopefully we can get it done again, Halterman. How are you feeling with this one?
Good. Feel pretty good. I would rank it. I like the Florida Derby card best out of the last three we've done, and I would rank this one second and the Bluegrass third. So kind of right in the middle. Yeah, we'll see. I think I've got strong opinions, and all you got to do is, or all you can do is play your strong opinions and hope they're right. So we'll see.
Kevin. I love this. This is awesome. Yes. For one, I love it because it means you listen to the show and you don't even know my kids, but the fact that you know that Justify is the pick is amazing. And if I asked him, I haven't asked him yet, but I guarantee you he would say Justify.
Yes.
Well, Cooper would. Cohen knows now. Like I told Cohen, I said, hey, I'm going to go see Justify last weekend. I was like, hey, I'm going to go see Justify this weekend. They're like, he's like, no, you're not. He's having babies. And I'm like, well, he's at the farm, but the farm he lives at is where I'm going to be. And so I'm going to go say hi to him. He just said, do you want me to tell him anything? He's like, yeah, tell him hi. So I waved at him when we drove by, but no, they love Justify. He would honestly probably say the number one. I don't know who's the one in the, I
don't even know.
The one baseline. Oh boy. Baseline beater.
Yeah.
He likes the one. He because he sees the horse, the pictures that I have and stuff, and if it's got the red or the one, the blue he loves. Number 3, he loves blue. So yeah, but it's always Justify. We love Justify.
So Shoddy brings up gallop outs. Did you see Shoddy's Twitter storm?
So I saw her DMs, and then I was like, what the hell is she talking about? And so I had to go back through, and I maybe I missed. I never saw like people being like mean about it, but I did see a ton of comments.
People went nuts, and some people were being mean to each other, I would say, about it. And
I mean, I thought it was a very good question because I thought it's a real. I just see my dog back there. Has she been back there the whole time?
Most of the time, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a relevant question.
It's a very good question, and I knew when I read it, it would cause all kinds of trouble. I thought, oh God, every expert on Twitter is going to go nuts about this. Yeah, not good. Shouty, I was going to answer, but I knew somebody would say I'm dumb or stupid, and I was like, I cannot do this. It's just tiresome. I asked. It's funny she asked, and it's a good question because I asked Kelly one time. Kelly, the horse trainer. I was watching gallop outs for some Derby horses one year in a prep, and I said, do gallop outs really matter? And he said, the answer is always, it depends on what the trainer wants, right? Like if the trainer says, gallop him out and see how he does after the wire, then it matters, and you look at it. But he said, some trainers will literally say, after the wire, pull his ass up. We don't need to run anymore. So he said, it really matters what the trainer does. Now, he said, you need to watch what the jockey's doing, and say the jockey just stands straight up and looks like he's trying to kind of just slow him down, and that horse just keeps on going. Well, that's a pretty good sign that horse has still got a lot of energy. He said, but it all depends on what the trainer wants out of it.
Run, you little bitch.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. I agree. I always get a kick out of like when someone's like, "Oh, did you see the gallop out?" And you see one jockey doing this, holding back, and the other one's like, right. I'm like, well, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
And there's some horses that, you're like, they have the best, like their gallop outs are amazing every time. They're ahead.
Well, The reason I asked him, there was a horse that a long time ago, well, not that long, but I guess kind of for most people watching here, named Dublin, right? And he would always run just well enough to make you think, oh man, he's pretty good. And then he would gallop out, and that son of a bitch would be 10 lengths ahead of everybody. And you just kept thinking, once he gets going, man, once he gets that mile and a quarter, this Dublin ain't nobody gonna beat him. So a couple of years later, I talked to the assistant trainer when Dublin was there at the time. And I said, man, I never could get off Dublin because he galloped out so well. And he just started dying laughing. He said he galloped out well because that son of a bitch would not listen to anything we ever told him or tried to get him to do. He said he galloped out well because we couldn't pull him up. We couldn't get him to stop. He said, so all the other jockeys are easing up their horses or pulling up on him. And we're trying, and he just keeps going because he's crazy. It's like, well, there you go. So again, I wouldn't take a whole lot of stock in them. I don't think they're meaningless, but it all just kind of depends on the horse. But that one, and we were pretty new to the game when he was going, and we just kept thinking, look at him, he's a monster. Well, turned out, no, he's not a monster. He's an idiot,
To me, it's I love Dublin, by the way.
Yeah.
We back for the OG listeners, we used to talk about Dublin so much on the show and just die laughing about it all the time because he was such an idiot.
They said he didn't really want to ever do it. Like he didn't really want to race. So in the mornings, I guess he wasn't too dumb because he learned how to get the jockey off of his back. Dublin has the record for getting loose in the mornings at Oaklawn more than any other horse. So there's like a little tiny like post and like an overlook kind of shed almost at the back stretch of Oaklawn. And he would rub up right up on that shed and knock that rider off and just take off. And he did it all the time. And they said, we learned he did it because he didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to train. He wanted to get that guy off of him. So he was a real head case. But anyway, that just shows you just never really know what you're getting with these gallop outs.
I hope he's living his best life now.
I'm sure he is somewhere.
Running in some field like a maniac,
I think he's a sire. I don't know where he's at. Let me see.
Well, he's got to be. He was a well-bred horse. He just was an idiot. I don't remember who he was. Who was his sire? Do you remember?
I think a Fleet Alex was his sire.
I remember it being a good one. So
let's see where he's at.
Wasn't it like was it the Preakness where he darted off like to the side out of the gate?
Well,
about killed one of the horses, like the riders.
So he drew the far outside post, and we all knew it was going to be trouble because you watch his races, he breaks like 5 strides to the right every time. Well, usually he's inside of another horse, and the horse will bump him over, and then he'll straighten up. Well, the Preakness, he ran right to the rail, and there was a pony standing right there, right on the rail, and he about collided with him. It was awful. It finally got him straight. It says here that he's in Pennsylvania. He's a sire in Pennsylvania.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
That's great. He's probably living a great life out there.
Yeah, he was Fleet Alex out of a Stormbird mare. So anyway, he was a beautiful, beautiful horse. He was nuts too. They always put the blinkers on him. Obviously, he needed blinkers. And Dwayne could never hardly get him on him in the paddock. He'd just go nuts trying to kill him. So
he was a good looking horse.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to make sure this is it before I show it. I think this is it.
It would have been
2010, wasn't it?
I'm a 99.9% sure it's 2010. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you in a second when he darts off.
Yeah. Pull it up. Let him watch it. Great. I remember my dad was on him that day. He's like, yeah, because he ran okay in the Derby. My dad was like, that son of a bitch going to win. I said, there ain't no way Dublin's winning shit. And then he did that right out of the gate. I was dying laughing.
Oh, shit. Look at this.
Okay. Oh, here, shut our thing off here.
Yeah. All right, look.
Okay, now he's the 12.
He's all the way outside. By the way, he's fractious in the gate. Like he's getting pissed.
Yeah.
He's all the way outside.
And he's going to go right at this stable pony.
Get him back him out. He put him back in.
Yeah.
Now watch this horse. This first one here.
Here he goes. And look at these 2 horses here. They're like, what the hell?
Like, all right, I guess I'll get it back in the race here.
Well, and the problem with this particular race is he likes to sit mid-pack or even a little closer, and he's dead last. You know, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Look
At
at
that point, you're just glad he didn't fall over.
Oh, I know. I really thought he was going to knock one of those horses out, and that would have been awful.
Well, shit. What was it? Which race was it? He actually ran he finished like third or something.
Oh, the whole Oaklawn series, the Arkansas Derby, the Arkansas Derby that year, he turned for home, and I'm like, his mind is on business, and he got right up there to those top 2 horses, and he would not pass them. That jockey tried everything, and that idiot would not go by him. He was way the best, but he would not pass those 2 horses. He got third in the whole stretch. It looked like he was going to win.
Where is he at now? I've lost him.
I think he won 4th or 5th.
Anyone want to guess who won this race 2010?
Well, I know who won it. But...
Well, I know, but I thought any comments would.
Yeah. Here he comes. He's coming up. He had finished like 4th or 5th, I think, in this race. I think he still might be in last back there. I can't remember. No, I don't know where he's at.
He got stopped for some popcorn, I think, on the backside.
No, I think he's in between there. He's like 3rd to last. He's on the outside. Yeah, there he is. Yep.
Yeah. He's always, he's picking them off, I think he probably finished like 5th.
Mm-hmm. He did. He beat everybody but these top ones here.
The old one-hole horse looking at Lucky. Got it.
Yep.
Yep, there he goes.
There he goes. Yep. Oh, looking at Lucky, who drew the 1 in the Derby and got absolutely annihilated, and then came back and was able to get the Preakness.
Oh man, yeah.
Go watch the 2010 Arkansas Derby. That's your homework for everybody still watching.
Okay, there you go. You're not talking to me, are you?
No, but I'm talking to. I know you were there. You saw it. God, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give you one more shot. I'm gonna give you one last chance. We're stretching out a whole stretch. It's like this. Oh, I hate this horse. You remember what they did that day? They put the blinkers on at the barn.
Yeah, they brought him over.
They brought him over in the blinkers, and Clayton Bagby, a good friend of ours, was there, and he looked at me and he goes, they did it. They put those blinkers on in the barn. He's going to run a lot better today because he's not going to go nuts in the paddock, and he didn't. He was very behaved, and he did run extremely well, but he was too dumb to pass the last 2 horses.
Let's see. Hang on. 2010 would have been...
Oh, if you get this one, you're good. The Kentucky Derby winner was in the race, but he didn't win that day.
Line of David
won. Yep.
And Super Saver
second.
And then there was that weird horse that kind of was not very good, but had that big. He always finished really well at Arkansas that year. He was like, what was his name?
Was that?
They had it was like one of the big. They had a big group with them, bunch of owners.
I can't remember who you're talking about now. You've got me at this one. I'm looking it up though. Dublin 3rd, and then you said this big group of no.
He may have finished better in the Rebel than that one. I don't remember. But I remember he was there.
Let me look. Bango? No. Noble's Promise.
There it is. Yep.
Noble's Promise, second by a whisker. 2 looking at Lucky in the Rebel. Came back. Everybody was on Noble's Promise. Got 5th in Arkansas Derby.
Yep. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, see, I got it. Kevin, thanks. All right, guys, that's a wrap. It's been great talking to everybody, and obviously it's fun to go back through these, and that's at heart and at the core of everything. That's why we do this, because we just have fun watching racing and talking racing and betting on horses and how their personalities and knowing the horses. And as everyone gets in the game and has been in the game longer and longer, it's such a fun part of it to see their sires and then see them come up and then, oh, he was an idiot like his dad. And then you get attached to these horses because of the sire that you watched or you bet on and things like that. So it's fun to kind of relive some of those past. And, back then, dude, we were fans then. That's all we were. Man.
Yeah. I mean, Dublin was the first time I ever went to Saratoga. Dublin won. And that's why I started following him. He won a maiden special weight there. So,
yep. Yeah. So I do have a funny story. Well, At this point, we've already gone too long. The funny story is the year that Danza cost us a huge amount of money was because of we were such big fans of racing. We got asked to be in if we were friends with Lucas, obviously, and his grandson, and then kind of the whole Horton family and things. It was like, hey, if that then it was the Oaklawn Handicap was on the undercard of the Arkansas Derby, as the race before, and it's like, hey, if he wins, make sure you're in the winner's circle. We're like, oh yeah, perfect, great,
Yep.
And then by the way, like then we also is like, we had a horse Strong Mandate in the Arkansas Derby, said just stick around, like you guys can go in at Oaklawn. They saddled them on the inside there, like in the grass. Like, all right, we're gonna be in the winner's circle. Maybe we're gonna be there with the horse in the Arkansas Derby. It's a dream come true, So like, sure. So we have this pick 5 rolling, and we've singled Will Take Charge, and we've basically have almost every horse in the Arkansas Derby, right? So if you go back and watch this, we survived an inquiry. It was dicey too, but We'll Take Charge won so it took forever. You know how inquiries are. It took forever. We're in there. By the time it ends or the Arkansas Derby's prep stuff is already happening, we just stick around. We've got too much going on to like look at the will pays and hedge bets. And we're sitting there. Danza wins the damn Arkansas Derby, which was one of 2 horses I believe we didn't use. Todd Pletcher, I don't know what he was, 30 to 1, 50 to 1. I don't know what he was. He was a huge price. All our will pays were 4 figures plus on it. So we had it coming home. It was almost a matter of how much money are we going to make, but we weren't thinking about it because we were in the winners or in the paddock for the Arkansas Derby. Yep. Anyways, I always think about that because it's like the coach and Strong Mandate in particular cost us a huge payout that year on Danza, because I have no doubt, like if it was like some jerk off like trainer and whatever, like we probably just you let it beat it. But it's Pletcher coming into Oaklawn, and ever since then, I've never let a Pletcher horse coming in off my tickets.
Yep, it was a perfect storm for us to get screwed. Because we were alive to a lot of money too, and we went to get our picture taken, and the best part of the story, we weren't really. He didn't really offer us to go with Sporting Chance in the paddock for the Arkansas.
Oh, Derby. Sporting Chance. I thought it was a Strong Mandate.
No, it's Strong Mandate. You're right, Strong Mandate. I get them mixed up. Strong Mandate, and we were walking back to the grandstand because the winner's circle at that time was out in the infield, and Brady said, "Hey, do you want to go stand next to D. Wayne and Strong Mandate for the Arkansas Derby?" And we're like, well, yeah, that would be amazing. And not thinking we really need to go hedge these bets because the only one we've left off is a 40 to 1 shot. So that's pretty easy to hedge. Yeah. And then we don't do it, and the 40 to 1 shot wins. And yeah, We'll Take Charge never won again after that race too.
And we back then we usually would just drive home, the day after God, that was a long ride home. Yeah. Like how? It wasn't a matter of like, oh, we never would have had that. It was like, no, we had it. We just were too busy.
Well, and I remember we were standing out there, and it's like this. It was so cool. Don't get me wrong; it was amazing. And I looked at you, looked at me, and you're like, "Do you think this horse has a shot?" And I was like, "No." But it's kind of cool that we're out here, but this horse isn't going to do anything. And of course, you think he got like 9th or 10th. What are you going to do? You're not going to say no to that. I mean, it was so cool. But yeah, it cost us big time.
What was amazing too is I believe wasn't Danza wasn't he a maiden going into that? Or maybe
he had won once, but he was coming off like a 3rd place allowance effort at Gulfstream.
And then he went on to ran like 3rd in the Kentucky Derby.
He ran great and then never heard from him again. Yeah.
Yep. Fun times. Anyways, yeah, We'll Take Charge. He that was towards the end. That was at the very end.
Yeah. There you go. Dead last.
Yeah, that was.
If I remember right, they almost pulled. I think they pulled him up. He wasn't right.
That was like salt in the wounds, right? If we just were saddled the Derby winner, Arkansas Derby winner, we'd probably be like, that sucks. But oh my gosh, our horse was not even.
It's like, yeah, we're not getting our
By the way,
picture
you're
taken.
asking. Of course, we had him in our big five.
Well, we went almost all, and we're like, we're not leaving off Lucas. Like, we're going to get our picture taken with him today.
Forget Pletcher bringing a horse in. Like, no way. Oh man.
I think about mid up the backside, he was already in last.
Oh wow. Well,
Anyway.
can't win them all, folks. All right, guys. It's been real. Thanks for everybody tuning in. I'm Jared Welch.
There were some good horses in that race. Bayern was in that race. Good race. Anyway.
Bayern went on to win the Classic.
Yep.
Or was that the year after the Classic?
No, that was the Classic that year.
No, Bayern. Oh, in the Arthur Derby. Yeah. Yep, that was. Yeah, he went on to. Yeah, he struggled that because he was kind of late to the game as a 3-year-old, and then struggled, and then of course, rest is history with him. Yeah, it was a good race.
I forgot Tapiture was in there. Commissioner was a good horse too. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, look, I mean this year wasn't a good example, but the Arkansas Derby typically has a bunch of good ones.
It seems like Pletcher had 3 commissioners, somebody I can't remember, and Danza. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter now.
It was a favorite.
That's a great question. Right on Curlin was in that race. Bayern may have been favored. I can't remember. Now you're making me go back here. We got to get out of here.
I know. We could just save this for our private conversations, I guess.
No. Can't. I got to know the people.
He said Tapiture over Bayern.
Tapiture was the favorite. That's weird.
He thinks.
Hold on. I got the chart here. The favorite was Bayern. He paid $1.60. Tapiture paid $2.10. Yeah.
Does it say pulled up next to Strong Mandate?
Let's see.
Standoff.
Strong Mandate in the second flight while 4 wide through the first turn, gave way midway on the second turn. He lost by 21.
That's great.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's funny.
Make sure if you guys go back and watch, what year was that?
That would have been 2014.
14. Okay. Go watch that replay. That's also your homework. And while you're watching it, just think of Aaron and Jared crying on the out there on the outside of the track. So
it wasn't even a close race, like you knew on the turn. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Blinkers Off. And remember, we will be back. Tons of Kentucky Derby coverage out there now and heading your way. All right, guys. Good luck this weekend.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track across the country. We're ramping up for the 2023 Kentucky Derby, and we want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to Racing Dudes YouTube channel, click the notification bell so you never miss a single video. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.